Angry guy here, and women are going to the gym naked for attention. Guys, if you're enjoying this content, help get this channel to 100,000 subscribers by subscribing to the channel if you already haven't, hitting the like button, and turning on notifications to never miss another video ever again. Now let's begin. Women are going to the gym naked for attention. Let's go ahead and jump into the first video.
Don't have clothes on, you need to be out of here, man.
I do have clothes on.
That's fine.
Go closer.
How's the wife?
That is fine. I work in the industry enough to know. I work in the entertainment field.
He's saying you need to leave. He's not.
Leaving you out the owner.
No, not a bunch of for decency.
Report me.
Cool.
Good.
I mean, she's covered, so.
Yeah, she's covered.
She's covered. Also, we're not supposed to videotape her.
Wow. Could you imagine if the roles were reversed? And like, I'm out here going up to a random girl in the gym. I'd just be walking around, swinging my meat. I mean, swinging my meat around. I would go straight to jail. But with this influencer, it appears to be okay.
If you don't have clothes on, you need to be out of here, man.
We seriously need to get influencers out of the gym. I'm sick of the tripods. I'm sick of the fake pranks and the fake flexing. It's ridiculous.
So guys, you know what's really happening here, right? We're watching the complete and utter breakdown of society. Men are sick and tired of the nonsense, of the crap, and they're walking away. And they're not tolerating it anymore. They are not tolerating it anymore. Guys, these are the consequences of modern day feminism. This is the consequences of modern day degeneracy. Women are starving for attention. Even though they act like they don't care, they are so starving for constant attention on social media that they will do anything to get it. They've lost any sense of self-respect in many cases, decency. They are putting themselves out there. They have no problem showing off everything and anything for $9.99 a month as long as they're getting paid. I've said this already that they sold out their futures for instant gratification in the present. If women from the 60s and the 50s could only see modern day women today, if women from 100 years ago that were born in 1928 could only see modern women today, in fact, some of them are actually still alive. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's really disgusting and it's disgraceful how they're behaving, how they're acting in society, how they're carrying themselves. And they think that it's funny. You constantly see women now making these videos trying to say, oh, look at this guy. He was looking at me at the gym. But guess what? Look at what you're wearing. And if a guy was doing the same thing, the cops would be in there in a moment. They would have his hands behind his back and he'd be before a judge. And, the judge would not be very nice to him. And, once he goes to jail, the guys in the jail would say, oh, what are you in for? And they would find out what he was in for. And then, of course, that he'd get some swift justice because they say, oh, so you're out here and you think that that's cute. What about if there were kids working out in there? I have a daughter. You think that's cute, man? Okay, we're gonna teach you a lesson, man. We're gonna fix you up real good because you think that this is funny. Okay, we're gonna teach you a lesson. You need to learn a lesson. You didn't learn it from your parents. You learn from your father. So you're gonna have to learn it here. And I mean, if men did this, it would be completely unacceptable. When women do it, do you hear the simps? Do you hear these simps? Oh, she's covered up, man. She's covered up. She's covered up. Like any real man stands up for decency and says that, you know what? I'm not going to tolerate degeneracy. But the simps are there literally like, yeah, baby, she's covered up, man. She's covered up. Leave her alone. Leave her alone. Why are you calling the police for? Why are you calling the police for? And these are weak men. These are weak men because these are the same dudes that'll try to run as quickly as possible when the cops are on the way. Like the cops are on the way. Yeah, bro, we got to get out of here, man. We got to get out of here. These guys are not providers. They're not protectors. They're weak men. They don't actually care about women. If they actually cared about women, they would not be pushing women to degrade themselves and get involved in degenerate behavior like this that will only damage their future and their prospects of ever actually finding a relationship. Guys, don't forget that women today, born today, millennial women, are now passing away at rapid rates in their late 20s and early 30s. It's absolutely insane, and it's not just millennial women, but also Gen Z women. They have shorter lifespans than women born in 1928. They are the first generation in modern history, despite having they're being the most educated generation in history. They are far more educated than men. They have more college degrees than men. They are out earning men in the workforce. When accounting for experience, so they work the same number of years. They have the same experience. They have they've put in the same amount of time. They're making the same. They're out earning men. And it's been like that since the 90s, and studies have found that despite the fact that they talk about this wage gap, there's no wage gap. Women are far out earning men. They're earning most of the college degrees. Women now make up the majority of all doctors in the United States, and that number is only going to increase further. Women make up the majority of all medical school attendees and medical school graduates. Women are outpacing men in the legal field. They are they're outpacing men as lawyers. They're making up the majority of all lawyers and doctors. I mean, it's ridiculous. And despite all of this, all of these so-called inroads, they are poorer than ever before. Their well-being, they have the lowest well-being since women born in 1928. They are more lonely than every other generation of women since 1928. Far lonelier than Gen X women, although Gen X women are beginning to, see the roosters coming home to crow as well. And of course, these women aren't going to admit it. The best that you'll get out of them is them saying that feminism betrayed us, but it won't really matter. Many of these women, feminism is such a large part of their identity that they will stay on their hill until the end of their days. They would rather live in a storm drain than ever say that I was wrong, I messed up. Where do I go from here? And the truth is, for many of them, there's really nowhere to go. They're sell, like this woman, she's selling out her future for her present. But the thing is, like, instant gratification in the present. But the irony is, like, what are you going to do when you're older? Like, you don't even realize you might be 20 something years old right now and doing this stuff on social media, and the internet is forever. But what's life going to be like for you in 20 years from now or 30 years from now when you're just in your 50s, bro? Like, she doesn't even comprehend that she's going to live a long time after this. Like, she's only 25 years old, not even 25, 22, 23. Like, dude, you've got at least a good 50, 60 years ahead of you. A good 50 to 60 years ahead of you, because women live longer than men still, regardless. Like, the average woman is living to something like 82 years old. That if you're like 22, you've got 60 years ahead of you on average, and you're out here doing this type of thing. And I saw an episode of Fresh and Fit, and this guy Zerka, he told an OnlyFools creator about this. He's like, you're gonna live a long time. What you're doing right now, you think you're getting your bag, but you're not going to. Things are not going to end for you tomorrow. You're going to be here a long time. You're going to have to live with what you've done. And she started to cry like she was a victim. Like, what? You didn't realize that accountability was there and that life has consequences? I showed you guys an article recently that basically broke down how women still need men to subsidize their lives, despite all of their inroads. They can't do it. They can't stay in the workforce. They can't work these for the next 20, 30 years. Men are built for this. God built men for this. We find purpose in work. For women, on the other hand, and we work to survive, we work to live, but we also work for our families. But the thing is that the juice is no longer worth the squeeze. And women think like, okay, well, if you don't marry us and have kids with us, then there won't be any more kids, and the world will come to an end. So we got you right there. And dudes are like, world's not going to come to an end. We're not living in a situation where, it's going to just completely collapse. There are many other countries, people are having children. It's our society that's going downhill. But overall, we're good. And, we don't really care regardless, because there's no incentive for us to get involved. We can keep our money to ourselves, live cheap, live happy, and live in luxury. And for men, less is more. A lot of men are happier living with significantly less, so they don't have a headache or any cleanup. There's some dudes who are more than happy. They feel much happier sleeping on the ground. They feel better sleeping on the ground with a sleeping bag or a mat and living out of a backpack so they can pick up and take off at a moment's notice. And they've done it many times, and they love that life, and they would not have it any other way. If you were to change it up and put them in a house with all this stuff, they would go absolutely ballistic, because it takes away their flexibility of being able to pick up and take off. And that's why you have women like, y'all don't want to settle down, you don't want to be responsible adults, you don't want to this and this. Bro, y'all say that we're not entitled to anything, and listen, we're not on your level. We will never be on your so-called level. We're not going to be the millionaires and billionaires that you want, so go and find those guys. No, you're supposed to live up to that. You're supposed to go out there and want to be better, so that you can marry us when we're 40 years old and give us our bag. Like, get the heck out of here. And why do we want to do this? For love. For love. Y'all don't have love anymore. Guys, I've said this so long ago. The women are going to say that men need to find their hearts. I said this years ago, many years ago. I said that when men walk away from women in Western society, women will say men need to find their hearts. They're going to say that the hearts of men have become wicked and cold. And of course, they're going to turn to the church, and they're going to have the pastor in there screaming and hollering about how men have become wicked because men don't even want women anymore. And God has ordained the marriage between men. And if men want to enter into the kingdom of heaven, then he needs to follow the Bible. And it is not good for man to be alone. And the man needs to take a wife, and a whole load of nonsense. And that's only going to push more men away from the church. And finally say, for those of you that remember that Angry said it, they say Angry was right. Angry was right. And it's the worst part of that is that not only is it going to push men away from the church, it's going to push a lot of men away from God. It's going to make a lot of men say, you know what, because they associate God and the church as being one and the same. They're going to say, well, if the church is toxic, then so is God, and I want to have nothing to do with neither. It's going to lead a lot of men towards atheism, or men who still believe in God, but they just don't want to have anything to do with God, because they're going to say, what kind of God is this? This is why I say that Christianity is a terrible thing, because it tries to convince you that Christianity and God are one and the same when they are completely separate and different. The only thing you need for salvation is to be a believer in Jesus Christ and accept the salvation of God. That's it. You cannot lose your salvation. You can only reject it. And Christians will say, well, you're rejecting if you're sinning, or you're rejecting if you don't love your neighbor, or you're rejecting if you don't obey the 10 commandments, or a million different things, when they are completely full of crap. And that's why they drive men away. And when they come out with this nonsense and start saying that if you don't want to take a wife, you're disobeying God and you're not doing God's will and all this other jazz, a lot of dudes are just going to walk away. They're going to walk away from the church, and it'll lead to a lot of men even walking away from God. And that is truly one of the worst things that can possibly happen. Guys, if you're enjoying this content, let me know what you guys think in the comments. And if you're enjoying this content, help get this channel to 100,000 subscribers by subscribing to the channel if you already haven't. Like the video, and also turn on notifications to never miss another video again. I want to hear your thoughts, guys, in the comments regarding everything we discussed here today. Women are going to the gym naked for attention. Let me know what you think in the comments regarding all of this, guys. Like the video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. And if you like the video, share the video. And just remember that all roads lead to MWA, and walking away. And cheers.